Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about addiction. We're going to cut through all the noise and really dig into what the science says about what it is, what's driving it, and most importantly, how people find their way to recovery. All right, let's jump right in.
We use that word addiction pretty casually, right? Oh man, I am so addicted to this new show, or I'm totally addicted to my phone. And in everyday conversation, that's fine. It just means something we really like or do a lot. But when you talk to a clinician, a doctor, that word means something much, much heavier.
So here's the real distinction, and it's a big one. Addiction isn't just about doing something over and over. It's about continuing to do it even when it's causing real harm. It's when your life is getting worse because of it, your health, your relationships, your job, but you just can't stop. That's the line. That's the difference between just a habit and a clinical addiction.
I love this quote because it paints such a vivid picture of what addiction feels like from the inside. A progressive narrowing. It means that slowly but surely, all the other things that used to make you happy, hobbies, friends, family, they just start to fade into the background. And eventually, the only thing left that brings any pleasure at all is the substance. It becomes the whole world.
So, what's behind all this? How does it happen? Well, it's not just one thing. It's kind of like a perfect storm. Think of it as a push and a pull. There's an internal force, your own biology and vulnerability. And then there's a powerful external force, industries that are designed to take advantage of that vulnerability. Let's break both of those down.
Okay, so on one side of the coin, you've got your own genetic risk. And this is real. Studies show that even if a child from a family with addiction is adopted and raised by a family with no history of it, their risk is still significantly higher. But then on the other side of the coin, you have these addiction-for-profit industries. They have a massive financial reason to get people hooked and, frankly, to keep them that way.
This just blows my mind. With all the incredible medical technology we have, all the fancy genetic tests, the single best predictor we have for whether someone will develop alcohol addiction is this one simple, low-tech question. That tells you just how powerful that genetic link really is.
All right, let's get specific. First up, alcohol. You hear it all the time, right? One day a glass of wine is good for you, the next day it's not. It is super confusing. So let's just cut through the noise for a second and look at the real data.
Ah, yes, the famous healthy red wine myth. We've all heard this one. The idea got super popular after a news story in the 90s suggested it was the key to French health. It's a really appealing story, but here's the thing. When you actually look at the hard science, that story just doesn't hold up. Here is the bottom line. The trade-off, and this is so important to understand. The potential heart benefit from light drinking, the evidence for that is, well, it's kind of shaky. It's wobbly. But the cancer risk that comes with alcohol, the evidence for that is crystal clear and very well established. So when you have to weigh a maybe benefit against a definite risk, the math just doesn't work out in your favor.
Get ready for this number, because it is absolutely staggering. In the United States, just 10% of the people who drink consume half of all the alcohol that's sold. Just think about that for a second. Half of the entire supply goes to just 1 in 10 drinkers. And that last statistic, well, it tells you everything you need to know about the industry's business model. Look, they don't make their money from someone having a glass of wine with dinner on a Saturday. No way. The profit, the real profit, comes from that top 10%, the heaviest users. Their entire business relies on addiction. All right, let's shift gears to our second case study, cannabis. And the number one thing you have to understand here, the most important takeaway, is that the cannabis people are using today is a fundamentally different drug than what was around in the 80s or 90s. It's not even close.
Just look at this jump. It's incredible. The THC content, that's the main psychoactive component, has gone from about 4% on average to 20% or even higher. We're talking about the difference between a light beer and a shot of vodka. It's a 5-fold increase. It's a completely different ballgame.
But it's not just that the drug is stronger. People are also using it way more often. It used to be a weekend thing for a lot of users. Now, almost half of users use it every single day. So you take a drug that's 5 times stronger, and you use it daily instead of weekly, you do the math, and boom, your brain is getting hit with 65 times the dose. 65? It's a massive, massive difference. So, what does this all mean? Well, this huge increase in exposure brings some really serious risks. There's a growing link to psychosis, especially for young people. It's also been called a performance-degrading drug because of its effects on memory and motivation.
And of course, a more potent drug is a more addictive drug, which means more people are experiencing real withdrawal symptoms.
Okay, so after hearing all of that, I know it can sound pretty bleak, but, and this is a really big but, that is not where the story ends. The best news in all of this is that recovery is absolutely possible. In fact, it's common, and there is a proven path to get there.
Let this number sink in. An estimated 24 million Americans are currently in recovery. They are our teachers, our accountants, our neighbors. They are living full, productive lives all around us. We often don't even notice them because they just look like everybody else. And that right there is the proof that this works.
So what is this process? What are the keys? Well, it really boils down to three main things. First, you have to build your why. You have to find your own powerful reasons for wanting to change. Second, you change your cues. You figure out the triggers and environments that lead to use, and you change them. And third, and this one is absolutely critical, you find your people.
This is just the perfect idea to end on, right? It's such a simple human truth. Whatever you're trying to do, start a new habit, stop an old one, doing it alongside other people who get it, it's a game changer. That sense of community, of shared purpose, reminds you you're not alone. It's how we make lasting change, together. Thanks for joining us.